and welcome to the Crafty Diamond. I am Debbie. Today is my weekly WIP and Chat, and if you are not familiar with what a WIP and Chat is, that is a work in progress. This is mine. I will be working on the same painting that I've been working on off and on for a while in my WIP and Chats, and this one is Dragon Seasons by Emma Casey from Enabler's Outpost. It is a 50 by 235 centimeters. I am almost to the halfway point. Once I finish the row that I'm working on, and I have 2 more sections of that row, I will be halfway to finishing this painting. And in another couple of rows, I will be starting on the fall. I'm really looking forward to that one. The summer one's been a little bit slower for some reason. I've been busy, and it has just taken me longer than the spring had taken, but it's turning out just adorable. I'm so glad that I got this one. I wasn't sure if I wanted it, and then as soon as I got it and started working on it, I thought this is going to be a perfect painting. I'm going to hang this across my bookshelves that I have in my craft room, and that's going to be probably taking up that entire wall space there, but I'll show you once that's done. But if you are new, welcome. If you are not new, welcome back. I so appreciate you guys for watching and for subscribing and just liking my videos. It's very well appreciated, and you just do not know how much that makes me so happy. But let's go ahead and get started. If you would like to work on something, feel free, or just treat this like a podcast if you want to. Whatever that works for you. I'm here for about an hour or however long that it takes me when I'm talking. I can talk for a long time sometimes, and I had a lot going on this past week. It started off rather slow, which was fine with me. Monday through Wednesday, we did the same thing that we normally do. We all, worked. Paige worked her shifts, and I was working from home, trying to finish up this term with school. And for those of you that are new, I am a college instructor. I don't take summers off. I work year-round, and we are starting to finish up our summer term, which is absolutely crazy to me. So I've got a lot going on with getting my classes, getting them set up, and then we're also having to do some training because we are changing what's called an LMS system. So it's basically our classroom, and so that's taking up some time, having to do a lot of training on that, and then also setting up some master classes that I can use going forward. But that's been going very well. I'm going to be working on that the rest of the week, trying to get ahead on some of that. But we didn't really do much for 4th of July. I am in the US, so we do celebrate 4th of July, but we really didn't do that much. We did grill out some burgers, and my husband was off work on Thursday and on Friday. He took Friday as a vacation day, and then ended up that became a bereavement day, but I'll go into that also. But we just grilled out for the 4th, and then we were able to sit on our back porch, and on Wednesday they had some type of celebration in our city, and we live close enough to where the park is, where they always do their celebrations, and we were able to sit on our back porch and we watched the fireworks. And I started laughing, and I told my husband, I said, this sounds awful. I said, but look at all of our tax dollars. They are just going up in smoke because the fireworks, it was a really nice show, but it went on for about 25-30 minutes. And so the more that they were shooting off fireworks, I'm like, yep, there goes our tax dollars. And then Paige was out there watching, and she said, and there goes our trash money, because we have to pay quarterly trash. And so I'm like, yep, there goes that too. But it was nice. We did not go to the park. We could have, but there's so many people that go there, and they have, you know, music and different festivities and things. But we just decided, why go there? Why pay the money to have to get in when we can see the fireworks? I don't care about the music, that, you know, how they have it syncing in with the fireworks. I could care less about that for the 4th. So that's pretty much all that we did. But I thought we'd never get to sleep, because our state, Georgia, does allow people to shoot fireworks. Doesn't matter if you're in the city, if you're not. Now, there are some cities, very few, in Georgia that they do have their own ordinance. They won't allow fireworks. Where we plan on moving does not allow the use of fireworks, because it is in the mountains, and that would just be, you know, major problems. It could be total destruction for houses and for wildlife in that area if, you know, fireworks were to just spark and there was, you know, a forest fire on the mountain. Then that would be, you know, horrible. And so they don't allow that. So I'm looking forward to that, because it went on until at least 2-3 o'clock in the morning. And so, of course, we didn't get any sleep, and both of our fur babies were upset. We put Molly in her crate in our basement, and she seemed to be better, because she really can't hear it where her little room is in our basement. So we just put her down there, and so she finally got settled down, and the cat was underneath the bed. She finally jumped into my husband's dresser drawers and got into his sock drawer, curled up, and she went to sleep. And so we finally were able to get some sleep. So thank goodness that we didn't have to work on Friday, which was, you know, very nice, because since none of us got any sleep, even Paige, it was just so loud. There was just no way that we could sleep. And are they ever going to stop? I mean, it just went on and on and on. And that's how it is every holiday. But then they will save a little bit of their fireworks, and they will go ahead and they will continue shooting off fireworks for the next week or so, very sporadically. And then New Year's is just horrible. They start in right before Christmas, and it will continue all throughout the month until about the 15th of January, and then they finally will calm down. And I wish that Georgia did not implement that law, because I always worry that there's going to be a spark and, you know, our house is going to burn up. We did, when we had a pool at our other house, we found fireworks several times in the pool. And so we always worried that it was going to tear up or burn the liner. And so we always would go out there and we would check, but we would find spent fireworks in the pool where they just, you know, landed. And I have had some friends where their roof actually caught on fire because of a spark from fireworks from a neighbor. So I just think that, you know, there's a time and place. I love to watch fireworks too, but I just don't like the idea that anybody can get out there in the street and just shoot off fireworks, because, you know, you never know. Are they paying attention? They know what they're doing. And my daughter, Madison, was telling me that she had a patient that came in, and he actually was shooting off fireworks, and he had way too much to drink, way over the limit. And I'm not sure exactly what happened, what he did, but he damaged his wrist by shooting off fireworks, burnt his wrist to the point that he had to have his hand amputated. And so she was saying, how sad that it was, and that, if he had not been dealing with these fireworks, then he would still have his hand. So it's just, really sad. And I just, tell my kids, well, I know that Paige won't, but tell Madison, please do not get out there and do something like that. And so Madison said that they live in an apartment. They're not allowed to. So that's a plus, but they don't really want to waste their money and have it going up in smoke, basically like our taxes were. But that was basically Monday through Thursday. And then on Friday, the week was going great. There was not any issues. There wasn't any issues during the weekend. And I'd already gone over the weekend with you guys when I did my last WIP and chat. So really nothing. It was, quiet. I thought this is going to be a great week. We, didn't have hardly anything that we had to worry about, except we knew that we were going to my stepmother's funeral, and that was in Nashville. And we weren't planning on spending the night, which we didn't. We ended up coming back home. But we had all of that planned out, the whole weekend planned out. My daughter came in on Friday, and she got here at 8 o'clock on Friday morning. No issues. Everything was wonderful. Her dad actually did the tickets, and he got her to where she did not have any layovers. And it's very unusual not to have a layover from South Dakota to here unless you get a super early flight. So he did. He got her a super early flight, and those are also cheaper. And so she was fine with the early flight. And then it just kind of, it just kind of skyrocketed, I guess, from there on things that happened. It was just like one thing after another, after another, after another. And I'm hoping that today is Tuesday. I didn't even get a chance yesterday to actually record my WIP and chats. Normally I do on Mondays, and then I will also edit on Mondays, and so they are ready to go. Sometimes I'll even do it on Sunday, but haven't done that in a while. But anyway, got her from the airport, and she was we're going to be here on Friday, go out to eat Friday night. So we pretty much had all day. Paige had to work on Friday, and my husband said, I'll be glad to take her to work if you want to go and pick up Madison. Well, of course, the airport was absolutely crazy because people were going, out of town. Oh, that does go there. People were going out of town for the 4th. And in the South, especially in my area, school starts on August the 1st. So July the 4th weekend is pretty much the last hurrah before school starts back. I'm just changing out a color before school starts back. And so the airport, and we have the busiest airport in the country, which is Hartsfield-Jackson in Atlanta. So I was really dreading going to the airport, but I thought it won't be too bad because I'll park in hourly. And then from there, I'll go pick up Madison. I'll go in and get her. Then we will, if we have time, we will go home, wait until time to take Paige, and then we were going to go and have brunch. So we had all that planned out, and everything went fairly well. The airport is doing some major renovations, and so on the south side, which is where I had to be, they have closed all of their parking except for hourly parking. And hourly parking is like $35 an hour. So if you're going to park your car at the airport for any length of time, it is better if you either try to find something on the north side for parking and just walk over, or you park in a park and ride off-site. Well, since I was only going to be there for a short time, I decided, okay, I'm going to park an hourly. It can't be that bad to park an hourly and to find a parking space, and then just to walk over, get Madison at the baggage claim, and then we can be on our merry little way. So did that. It took me 15 minutes to actually find a parking space in the hourly. And it said that hourly was open, there were spaces, but it was filling up really fast. And this was at 7:30 in the morning. So I finally found a parking space in hourly, parked the car, and then she had just sent me a message saying that she just got off the plane. She did not check in bags. She was only here for a couple of days, so she just brought a backpack, and she just used all of our toiletries and any clothes that she needed or shoes of mine. So went and found her. So far, so good. Oh, that's an A. I need to move that. I put those in the wrong ones. So far, so good for the week. Then we started going downhill. We were leaving there. It was so packed. Took forever to get to the highway, which is right there at the airport. We got into a lot of traffic because it was rush hour coming back home. So we got home. We had about 30 minutes to kill before I had to leave and take Paige to work. So I asked my husband, since he was home, asked him, do you want to go with us for brunch? And so he said he didn't. And so Madison and I dropped Paige off, and then we drove back. We went to have brunch, and that was really good. We have a place that's called, I think it's called Third Watch or First Watch. No, I said third. First Watch, that's it. And so we had a nice brunch, and then right across from us was a good friend of Madison's that she went to high school with, and they still talk. That was really funny. Of all the places that we chose one that, she saw a friend of hers. And so they talked for a few minutes, and they were getting caught up a little bit. And then we decided to leave there. And then we had a little bit of time before we had to pick up Paige. And so we just went back to the house and did a few things. And then we went to get Paige, and the girls wanted to do something, and they wanted to know if I would take them to the mall, and they wanted to go to Bath and Body Works, and then they wanted to go to another store was having a sale on some clothes. It's a clothes store that they like. And so we did that, and we went into the mall, and we were in there for a long time at Bath and Body Works. They're already getting winter and Christmas scents out. I was looking for summer. I had a horrible time trying to find some summer scents. I did end up getting a fall, just so I'd have it whenever it hits fall. We love Bath and Body Works. The kids and I like their candles, pretty much like everything there. And so we spent some time in there trying to decide what we wanted. Now, Madison can only take 3 ounces back in her carry-on up to 9 ounces, or up to 9 bottles. So We did buy some bottles so she could take some plastic bottles so she could take some of hers back. And then when Paige and I go August the 1st, I am going to check in a bag. So then I will have hers. So then we also went to a couple of other places. And the mall was just extremely hot. Now, our mall, like so many malls in the country, have filed for bankruptcy. They're still open during their bankruptcy. They may even have to go into foreclosure. But there's still some really good shops in there. And I was getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And I'm like, okay, I know I'm not having hot flashes. I am beyond all of that. Thank goodness. I haven't had a hot flash in a very long time. So I'm like, it can't be a hot flash. Why am I so hot? Just all of a sudden, I'm like, I am just burning up. And so the kids were too. And come to find out, the AC was not working properly in the mall. Now, they either turned the AC down to try to save on money, which is kind of what I'm assuming, or it has broken down and they don't have the money to fix it, or the landlord refuses to fix it. I don't know. We went into the last shop and I told the girls, I'm like, look, y'all can stay in here. You can shop as long as you want to. I'm going to have to get out of the mall. I am burning up. I am just starting to feel queasy. It is just so hot in here. And I am never, ever hot, so it had to have been extremely hot. And so the lady that was working there at the register, she said, yeah, we are all very uncomfortable. And so I asked, I said, is this just something that happened today? And she said, no, it has been going on quite often. They've lost a lot of customers because who wants to shop and be absolutely miserable? Even if, a lot of people just go to shop to look around and they'll eventually buy something that they see. And they're not going to do that if they're miserable and they're just absolutely burning up. They had some just floor fans that some of the shops had, and that was pretty much it. Then it started pouring down rain, and we could hear it on the roof. And so we decided, okay, it is time just to go out to the middle of the mall. We were done. We thought it would be cooler out there. Well, it wasn't. But we thought it'll be cooler out there in the atrium of the mall. Well, then it was dark in the atrium, so they're not having all their lights on either. And the only reason why that we went to the mall was because of Bath & Body Works. They do not have another one around here. But I'm not going back to the mall if they don't do something about it. That was absolutely ridiculous, spending all that money and walking around, burning up. What fun is that? So we ended up deciding, okay, the mall is really dark because they don't have lights on in the atrium. I guess they were relying on all of, they have windows that's, above and on the roof. And so we thought maybe that they're relying on those. Well, it's pouring down rain, dark, can't see anything. So, what's the point? We were ready to go. So go out. It finally stopped raining. We went out to the car, put our things in my car, and I go to start my car, nothing. I keep trying to start my car and nothing. Well, I've been telling my husband that I've been having car problems since November. I'm like, the car is acting funny. I think it might be the starter. I don't know, what else is going on here. But some days I will get out there, it acts like it's not going to start, and then all of a sudden it will start. So I've only had twice where it wouldn't start, and my husband said, okay, you need to get a new battery. So, okay, spent $200 and something on a new battery, got a new battery, and it worked okay for a short time, started doing the same thing again, and then my husband went outside and he said, you've got to turn everything off in the car before you start it. You need to have everything off before you turn it off. He said it's draining down your battery because it's trying to start too much at one time. Well, I have never ever done that before. I've been driving since I was 16, And I'm much older than 16 now, obviously. And so I've never done that. And I've never had problems. I've had this car since 2012. Never have done that with my car. So he started fussing and said, you should know better and blah, blah, blah. And so anyway, like I've been doing that, been checking, been very, very careful, turning my car off. Before I turn my car off, make sure that the seat warmer is off, that everything is off on my car. So when I came back out of the mall, would not turn over, I looked and I said, you girls saw that I had everything turned off before I got out of the car, and they're both yes, yes, yes. So I said, let me try it one more time, and then I'm going to have to call Dave. Of course, Friday was one of the hottest days of the year in Atlanta. After the rain, it made it even worse. So called Dave, and I said, look, my car it will not even crank over, and I'm at the mall, we're stuck. So my husband said, okay, fine, I will come down there. And he's like, I'm sure it's an easy fix. And I'll come down there and I'll be there in a few minutes. So, okay, fine. So at this point, we were absolutely burning up. And he's like, why don't y'all go back into the mall and just wait? I'll call you when I get there. So then I told him about the mall. I'm like, it's hotter outside or inside than it is in the mall. So then he said, well, why don't you roll your windows down? Well, I can't roll my windows down because my car won't start. Windows, I have no electrical. I have nothing. So we stood outside for a while. We did sit in the car for a few minutes. I'm like, I gotta get out. So we sat in the car for a little bit, and then we got out, and we could feel a breeze every now and then. So he finally shows up, and he goes through and he looks at it and he works on it. And he looked to see, and I said, I had everything off. And, I don't know why it's doing this, but everything was off. So finally he decided, well, we know it's not the battery because you just bought a new battery and the battery could have drained down, but if you didn't have anything on that I don't know, and he said, and I can't get it to actually start back up no matter what he did. So then he had the nerve to tell me, well, you know what? I think it could be your starter. And I tell you, if I was a violent person at that moment in time, I think I would have just come apart. And so, of course, Paige said, well, Mom has been saying this since last year, and you said it wasn't, and blah, blah, blah. And, of course, he said, well, at one point, it wasn't. It was the battery. But now I think it's a starter. So, of course, I was, grumble. Thought, if you would have fixed the starter when I asked you to, then we wouldn't be out here, all four of us, absolutely burning up. But I didn't say anything. I just kept my mouth shut. He knew what I was thinking, so I guess that was good enough. So then my husband's like, well, I hate to tell you, I think we're going to have to call a tow truck. We're going to have a car towed to the house. And he said, and then I think if it's a starter, he said, I'll be able to fix it. Called the tow company, and we went back and forth with this company. And they're like, okay, fine. We can get somebody out there, and we will get them out in about 30 minutes. Well, an hour and 15 minutes later, we finally get a tow. They charged $190 to tow my car 6.5 miles. And not even on the highway, mind you. This was back streets. 6.5 miles, and it was $190. So when my husband went ahead, because Paige, when she gets overheated, she gets a really bad rash. She also has major anxiety when she gets really hot. So my husband said, tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and take Paige home. You two stay here, wait on the tow truck. And he said, if they don't show up by the time that I get home, and he wanted to take him a shower because we were going out to eat that night, he said then he would come and get us. So, okay, fair enough. So when the tow truck finally showed up, I just looked, I shook my head. I just wanted to start crying. I really, really did. I was so hot. I was bummed out. I was worried about my car, worried how we were going to get it home, if he was going to be able to work on it or not. And our tow shows up. This guy was in a regular truck, and he stopped by U-Haul, and he got a dolly that you tow cars on when you're moving. And I'm like, you have flipping got to be kidding me. I am paying almost $200, and he went and got this dolly that's probably $20 to rent at U-Haul. And then he's like, well, I don't know how I'm going to get your car on here, but we'll get it. We'll figure it out. I thought, well, that just really makes me warm and fuzzy. Here I am worried about my car, worried how I'm going to get it home, paying you almost $200, and you don't even know how you're going to do this because, you know, my car's not going to start, so it's going to be hard for him to get it on this ramp. So he ended up pulling my car out. He was pushing it, and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to help him because I'm paying him $190. And he came by himself. So he had gotten some teenage boys to help him that were coming out of the mall. So they helped the first time, and then he thought he was done, and he could not get the momentum up to get my car on this little dolly. So he finally found somebody else, some more kids, and they helped him push. And he was able to get my car on this dolly, but I was just a nervous wreck. I thought, he's going to miss this dolly. He is going to just tear up my car. So then I'm going to be out of a car. And so I thought about it, and I thought, well, he's going to be responsible if he does something to my car, not me, because he's the one that's doing it. So I told my husband, do not push this car. We're going to just see what happens. And so we finally got it on there. And then we drive to the house. He takes my car off of the little dolly. I pay him in cash. Thank goodness I had cash left over from the retreat, because otherwise I wouldn't have had cash. And he said he didn't have a card reader, that he wanted to come straight to us because he knew we wanted to be picked up. So he didn't stop and get the card reader from their office, and I would have to pay cash. Of course, he waits until after he gets my car on here, telling me, well, if you don't have cash, I will take you to the ATM. Well, no, I did not feel really comfortable with that. I was sure the guy was fine, but I don't know him. And so I did have enough, barely. So then when we get my car home, I go in the house, start to get ready because we're going to go out to eat. And I had to take a shower because I just felt gross and I wanted to change clothes. So then my husband came in as I was finishing getting makeup on, and he just shook his head. The so-called professional, because the guy that was the tow driver, he was talking about, well, only certain people can do this and you have to be trained, and I'm one of the highly qualified ones that's at our shop, and just going on and on. So then he gets in our driveway and he can't back the truck out with this dolly on it. So he obviously didn't really know what he was doing. My husband was helping him, navigating, trying to get him out of our driveway, and this guy was just having a terrible, terrible time. So finally, my husband gets in the guy's truck and gets him out of our driveway himself. And I thought, here we are paying $190 to this so-called professional. He doesn't even know how to back out the truck onto the street. So that was on Friday. And then I thought, well, we had planned on doing something on Saturday, the kids and I, and that's going to be almost impossible to do without a car. And so my husband's like, no, you can take my car. I'm going to work on yours some. And if I need anything, I have my truck. Okay, so I did that on Saturday. And then the kids and I wanted to go to a restaurant. It's called Jinya's. It is a ramen restaurant. And Paige is very picky, but she absolutely loves this restaurant. And we found out that they are opening up another location that's about 10 to 15 minutes away from us. So they're opening it in August, and we ended up going to that restaurant, and we ended up having to go to the closest franchise that's in our area. So we went there, and that was kind of a drive. Traffic again was absolutely horrible, even on a Saturday, because people were off doing things because of the holiday. And so we finally get home, drop Madison over to a friend's. We finally get home, and then she was only there for just a little bit. Then we left and went back to the house, and then I started straightening up and doing some things, and so she was helping me. So was Paige. So that was definitely a plus. But then we kept, looking at my car, trying to figure out, and so my husband said he can take the car apart and put in a new starter, but it's going to take him some time. So ended up, we went, had our ramen, which was really, really good. And then once we left there, this was in Dave's car, we left there, we went to a closer mall that's always open. And so we did all of that, no problems there, that was good. We went to the store just to get some things to also cook for the weekend. And I saw, as we were going out, there was, it looked like an assistant manager at the grocery store, and they were also with some employees. And I thought, what are they doing? What in the world? The one guy ran right smack into the door. I said, what are they trying to do? They're acting so silly. Well, then I found out. We were walking out of the store, and a huge rat scurried right in front of my feet. Well, Paige screamed, because she was standing right next to me. Paige screamed. She didn't do it, but she came really close to jumping into my arms as we were walking. Madison was dying out laughing, and then apparently I screamed. I didn't know I did, but Madison said that I did, so guess I did. And so the manager was like, I'm so sorry, ladies, we have a mouse and we can't get rid of it. And we finally found it, and so now we're trying to get rid of it. And the mouse, because the guy had a broom, that's what they were using, the mouse decided that it was not ready to go back to either a crate or go back somewhere that was more civilized. So that was Saturday, and then the guy asked us, he's like, I'm so sorry, are you scared of rodents? And I'm like, I'm not crazy about them. I don't want to be near one. Yes, we are scared of rodents. So that was kind of a laugh that we had when we got in the car. I'm like, you have absolutely got to be kidding me. So then we get in the car, we decided we're going to go to dinner. By this time, it was already 4 something. Well, actually 5 something, because we left the house at 6. Got to the restaurant, and then we ordered. And I thought, if my food comes back, I'm not going to be happy if it comes back. Something's wrong with it. But it didn't. Everything was good. And so we ate our dinner. And then they had someone that was singing. If you call that singing. but he wasn't horrible. Some things he was pretty good with, some things not so much. But he played the piano, of course. He was accepting tips. Didn't give him anything, but he was accepting tips because we didn't ask for a song or anything. So then we left there. That was kind of late. Left there, came home, and just kind of talked a little bit outside. And then Madison decided that she was exhausted because she had been up really late. And so she was tired, so she went to bed. And then we stayed up a little bit, outside a little bit longer, and then decided, it was time to go to bed. And we could not sleep for anything, but we did finally get some sleep. And then that was Friday. And then on Saturday, we went to an open house. That was so much fun. Went to an open house. Actually, that was on Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon, we went to an open house when we were done after dinner. And then on Saturday morning, we got up. We took Molly to the pet hotel. She was going to stay there all day since we were going out of town. And she was going to spend the night. So took care of all of that on Friday. Then we came back home, loaded up the cars, and we left to head to Nashville for my stepmother's funeral. Make sure you guys can still see, for my stepmother's funeral. So we did all of that, and it was pretty quiet on the road. It was busy, but we were able to go the speed limit. And it's about 4.5 hours to Nashville. It took us close to 5 because of traffic. And we did stop. We got some lunch, got something to drink. And we also stopped by Buc-ee's. So it was nice to be able to stop by Buc-ee's. That was the highlight of the weekend, I think. Madison has never been to Buc-ee's. And so we were in there for a while. She was surprised at, all the things, bought some shirts and different things, some snacks, got in the car, we drove some more, and then we were at the church. So went in and talked to a few people, and I'll tell you what, I never felt so out of place as I did at that funeral. Because, of course, my sister and my stepmother know everybody. So they were all stopping and they were talking to my sister. And then from there, we had the funeral. It ended. And after the funeral, we decided we're not going to go to my sister's friend's house that was having a visitation. I don't know why I keep losing my tops. I have been doing that. That is the top to my container, not my top. But I just keep losing these tops, and now I've lost it again. I'm sure you guys are looking at it saying, there it is, it's right there. I cannot find it anywhere. Okay. And I know it has to be here because I just had it on there. I just took it off. Finished with my drills. I poured my drills back in here, and now I cannot. Oh, there it is. See, I told you, it's right here. For the life of me, find the top. All right, so I found the top. Here we go. So I told you this is going to be a long one. I'm probably not making any sense, but I guess it is what it is. I need A. I don't have A with me yet. I thought I had A. I may have to pull out my other ones. Thought I got all of my drills out that I needed, but let me open the bag. I've got a few of these here I can use, but we decided we're not going to stay. We want to drive home. Drove home. So that was pretty uneventful. But we were able to go to Buc-ee's, which that was fun. And we talked quite a bit in the car, so that was nice because I got to spend some time with Madison and with Paige. And then after we left Nashville, everything was still good. We got home, it was about 8:30. And we were going to wait and pick up Paige. Oh my gosh. We're going to pick up Molly on Saturday or Sunday morning. And then we decided on Sunday we are going to go and we were just going to go out to eat again at another restaurant that Madison really liked. And so we did that. And then we came home, still had some time to kill before I take Madison. Her flight was at 10:12 on Sunday evening. It was a late one. So I got her to the airport. They had been saying how bad that TSA was, try to get through. And so I told her, we're going to need to leave early. It takes us an hour to drive to the airport. And then you're going to need at least an hour to go through TSA security. So did all of that, dropped her off. She got there about 7:30. Took her an hour to get through TSA. And I had already left because she kept looking and she said, plane says it's on time. No issues. We're going to leave on time. So I said, well, if that's the case, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave. I'm going to go home and just, keep me posted. Let me know whenever you get on the plane. Well, she was supposed to start boarding at, I think it was 3:30. So 3:30 came around, 3:30 went. Here we are looking at 4:30. And she said they had just made an announcement to South Carolina. South Carolina was supposed to have gone, I think, 45 minutes before that, and they were still there. So whoever it was came on the intercom, said that New Hampshire, they're going to New Hampshire. They were also going to some other place on another, I think it may have been South Carolina, that was at another gate. And so it said that they were going to be departing, that they were, apologize for being late. And so the flight that was after them was going to be Madison's flight. So they came on the intercom. They said that once these other two take off, that they will be in the running. So then they will start loading. So all that happened. And they told them that they were number 38, 40, something like that on the tarmac. So they finally take off at like 10:30 to the tarmac. At 11:15, they come on the intercom and they said that due to FAA requirements, they're not allowed to be up on the tarmac because they have too many planes. And they were taking everybody back to the gate. They were going to have them exit, and then they were going to see when they could send the flights out. And it had been raining too, so that didn't help matters either. So then they decided that they were going to just cancel that one altogether, and they would have a plane early, really early on Sunday morning. Or Sunday. So they finally decided they were going to cancel the flight altogether. And mind you, I had already left. I had already gotten home. And this was at 1:15 in the morning. So they kept messing around, saying, we're going to go tonight, just hang tight. And at about 1:15, 1:30 in the morning, they said, no, we're going to not have any extra flights. We're not going to have this one. And so we are just going to wait until tomorrow. And they used to give out vouchers for a hotel, and then also they had their own bus that they would take people to hotels that were on their list. Well, Madison had 6 hours or so left before she would have had to have been back down there. So she said, don't worry about coming and getting me, as much as I would like to, as much as I don't feel comfortable being down here at the airport because it's really close to our downtown. Madison said, I'll just stay. So then, of course, Madison got really upset thinking that she had to stay all night at the airport, but she did have to. And I told her, I said, I can come and get you or I can come and sit with you. You'll have to go through security all over again because, of course, I can't get back there. And I said, I can come stay with you. So she told me, no, don't worry about it. We're supposed to go out at 7 in the morning. So, no big deal. I'll just stay here. So she was up all night long. Well, then the next day, on Monday, they decided that, yes, we're going to go out of the airport today. They had to request an airplane from their hangar. The airplane was dirty, so they had to bring out their cleaning crew and have it cleaned. And then they had to call their morning shift that was on call in case that they were going to have any additional flights go out. And so this one was an additional flight because all the other flights that were going to South Dakota for Monday were all booked. So they had a special flight for them. So she finally got out of Georgia. They finally they left at 1:15 on Monday afternoon, when they had said they were going to leave on Monday very early morning. So she had not slept in well over 24 hours. I stayed up on Sunday night. I could not stand the thought of her being at the airport just sitting there by herself. But if I would have gone, she would have had to gone all back through, go through security again. It already took her over an hour. They were saying at that point on Monday, it was even more of a travel day than it was on Sunday. So it was going to take her an hour and a half, 2 hours. And so it wouldn't be any point in me even going down there. And then if I went to get her, by the time that we got back home, we would have had to have turned around and gone back had we known that they would not have left until 1:15-ish, 1:30, then I could have easily went and got her. So that was another issue, but they do not any longer. They offered a voucher, but you had to pay for it first, and then they would reimburse depending on if it was a hotel that they actually sponsored or whatever. Well, Madison did that before, and she was out of money because they would not pay for the voucher. Even though they said they would, they didn't honor the voucher when she submitted the voucher in. She only got money from Uber of getting to the airport. Well, our downtown is not the greatest. I did not want her downtown in Uber at that time of night. So she did stay up all night long on Sunday, and I tried to stay up with her just on the phone. At least I was keeping her company. Even though I wasn't there, we were talking and cutting up and different things. And then at one point, I'm like, I am so sorry. I am about to fall asleep on you. Let me lay down for about an hour or two, and you can just, stretch your legs, or you can just, stretch out and just, rest, and then I'll call you back. So that's what we did. But on Monday, I was so exhausted. Once I knew that she was on the plane, she had finally gotten home. It was after 2 o'clock when she got home, and she got home and she crashed. And so I was trying to work, and finally I told Paige, I'm like, I am sorry. I am going to have to take just a short nap. I didn't want to, because I knew that if I did, that I wouldn't sleep last night. But I slept all night long. I was just so tired. I took an hour and a half nap, and I got up and I felt more refreshed. But as soon as it was bedtime, I was ready to crash last night. Dave did go, and he took the starter off of my car. He loves working on cars. He knows what it is, but on this one, he doesn't know foreign cars, which mine is a Honda, Japanese, and he doesn't know those cars very well, or not enough. And my car is no longer under warranty because it's 12 years old. I only have like 78,000 miles on it, so I don't want to get rid of it. But he was able to take the starter off. He took my starter to an auto parts store, and the auto parts store, and we both just could not figure this one out. He asked them if they could check and make sure that this starter was bad before he paid the money and got a new starter and put the starter on my car. Well, the person that was there said, we can't do that. And so my husband's like, why? You have the diagnostic machine and equipment. And the guy said, well, we can only do it if the starter's on the car. And so my husband at that point was tired. He was hot. He had been trying to get the starter off my car. And so his comment to this guy was, well, if the starter doesn't work and, if the car doesn't start, how am I supposed to get the entire car to you to make sure that that's what's wrong with it, because the car won't start? And the guy's like, well, I don't know, but that's what we have to do. It's what we always do. So my husband's like, well, I'll never buy from them again, because he said, I think they're crazy. So he left there, went to another place, and he was telling those people at the other place what the guy said. And their first comment before Dave even said anything was, well, how do you do that? How do you check to see if a starter works if the car won't start and you're almost positive that the starter's bad? So they were baffled too. So anyway, they lost a good sale because my husband had it checked at the other place. It wouldn't even do anything. And the guy's like, this starter is deader than dead. So that's what was wrong with my car. And if you remember, after this long conversation that I had been talking about my car, I've been telling my husband, I think it's a starter. I think that's what's wrong with it. I think it's been acting kind of strange. And my husband kept saying, no, it's not the starter, not the starter. And so the guy's like, yes, sir, this starter is really, really bad. It's not going to take you anywhere. So he came home and he's like, it's a starter. And I said, maybe I should be the one working on cars. I was thinking that to myself, but I said, self, keep your mouth shut. Do not say anything. It is all good. He knows that I told him. And so I could just gloat very quietly. And I did. I just did. But I was thankful that he was able to do it, because the starter was over $200, close to $300, just for the starter. And then my husband, of course, put it on, didn't charge me. Of course, he wouldn't. And of course, if he tried to, that's when I'd make him feel guilty, but he didn't. And I knew he wouldn't. He would never try to charge me for doing my own car. But just out of kicks and giggles, I called Honda to see how much a starter would cost. First of all, they would have to diagnose it, which I think the diagnostic was $75. And then if it was a starter, then they would deduct that from the repair. And they were going to charge me $675. So yes, I am thankful, very thankful my husband was able to do it, but I wouldn't have had to pay the $200 for my towing, and I would not have been concerned for months and months that my car wouldn't start. So I am just thankful that we were at the mall, that I wasn't in the middle of the road somewhere, or that I was at the airport. That would have been absolutely horrible at the airport trying to figure out what I'm going to do about my car. So he went ahead and he changed the starter out last night, checked it, and yes, it works. But now he went to lock my car and the horn is not working. That shows that the car is, that I have locked it. Because usually my horn will beep saying that, my car's locked and that the anti-theft is on. Well, now that's not working. I don't know if he did something. I have no idea. But I'm like, okay, I'm not real concerned about that because my car's locking. I'm not really going anywhere yet. He said he'll look at that over the weekend. Now, I didn't check to make sure that everything on the electrical part was working. So that could be an issue when I go out to start my car this morning to take Paige to work. But it's very early on Tuesday morning. So once I get her up, I'm going to run out and make sure that my car starts. Because if it doesn't, I'm going to call Uber. Because I do not want her to miss work because of my car. I'll just have to ride with her to Uber, with Uber. Right, they'll have to bring me back home, and then same thing. Come get me, come get her, and that's going to be a hassle. But that's what I'm going to have to do, so I will have to keep you guys posted. I'll put underneath the comments if I was able to get her to work. But that was my crazy, crazy end of the week. It's like one thing after another happened, and then once that mouse ran underneath my feet, I'm like, okay, I am done. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. Taking Madison to the airport was absolutely horrible. Traffic was really bad. She was navigating. She got me messed up about 3 times. I didn't think we'd ever get to the airport. And I told her, I said, this isn't right. I've been to the airport several times, and I know that I need to keep going straight towards downtown. No, Mama, this is what we're supposed to do. This is what we're doing. And I thought, okay, she's looking at the GPS. My car has GPS built in, but my husband's doesn't. His is newer. And so I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do your way. And as soon as I turn, she's like, oh no, don't turn. Well, I'd already turned. I'm like, you can't tell me not to turn when I've already turned. I'm already going towards another highway that is not the highway we need to be on. And so it did recalculate. And then we went through a really bad, sketchy area of town. And I said, if I have to stop at a stop sign, I see somebody coming towards our car, I am gunning it. I am running a red light. And we're out of here. So kids agreed. Paige just put on her headphones so she wouldn't have to deal with me and Madison talking. And she didn't even know what was going on. She was oblivious. But we finally got to the airport, and then that was another disaster because so many people were dropping their loved ones off at the curb for drop off. And so I told Madison, I am not going to put you off over here because then you'll have to walk across this busy street. But if I'll get you over the curb, so just, wait. So we finally did all that. When I got out of that area, I was so happy. And then all the fiasco with her not getting on the flight. And the same thing happened last time, but she got stuck in Minnesota through her connecting flight. So we thought they'll be better because she doesn't have a connecting flight. It's one way, but no. So Paige and I are going to visit Madison and her fiance early August. We had a delay. We're going to have a layover in St. Paul again. And so I went on yesterday. I said, I am not doing this, especially with Paige. I'm not going to get stuck in Minnesota. If I get stuck in Atlanta, I have my car. If I want to come home, I'll just say, screw it, I'm going home. But I'm not going to get stuck in Minnesota for the night. Not with Paige. I'm not doing that. So I went online yesterday and I looked, and they do have some availability. So I changed it. The only problem, we're going to get home at 3:30 instead of 9 p.m. for both. But the problem is we only have a 50-minute layover in St. Paul. Now, Madison told me that in St. Paul it's okay because it's a very, very small airport. It will be easy to navigate, easy to get to. But Paige she's ever in a hurry. She just takes her time, just dilly-dallies. And so I'm a little concerned about that. So she's going to have to pick up some speed. If we are there and we have just barely enough time, as long as our flight in Atlanta is not delayed, that's a big if, then we should be okay for our connecting flight, that we won't miss it. But I've already told Paige when I did this yesterday, I said I did this for you earlier because I know how you are. You're slow. You want to get something to eat. You just want to look around at things. And so I've already told Paige that she's going to have to put some wind underneath her sails, and she is going to have to be ready to go if we need to, because I do not want to be stuck in St. Paul. Madison had to go and stay in a hotel, and apparently there's only 2 or 3 hotels that are close to the airport. All but one were booked when she got stuck. And I could stay all night at the airport, but I just don't see Paige doing that. If it were just me, I wouldn't be worried, but I know how Paige is. So I am just hoping that all is going to be well and that we are not going to have issues. But we'll see. And then I have not gotten much diamond painting done this week because of all these things that's going on. I am working on my fall classes the rest of this week. I am going to do them until they're done. So I may not get much diamond painting in then either. But the 19th and the 20th of July, in a week, next weekend, I am going to be going to Scrapbook Expo with my best friend. We're spending the night. And I have got to get my cards done. I have 21 cards that I have to take with me. I haven't done them yet. They're going to get done this weekend. I don't like to wait this long. Hopefully I have everything, looking for my final colors. I have everything that I need, I'm hoping. So I will not have to worry about rushing and getting the card, everything I need for my cards. I have everything pretty much cut out for my cards. What do I do with that color? Everything pretty much is cut out for my cards, so I don't have to worry about getting that stuff done. I just have to sit down and do it. So I think, fingers crossed, I think I will be okay to be able to go and get all of my cards done over this weekend, so I don't have to do it next week, and get all my things together. I am going to take a diamond painting to work on. We actually pay for the daily crops, so we can just leave our things there. We can go shopping. We're taking several classes, and nobody ever touches anything. They have people that also watch your stuff. So we have a big table of 4 people, and we are going to be taking, whatever. And so I decided I'm going to take a diamond painting. I'm taking Bubble Girl, that I was working on at the retreat. I'm about halfway done with her, so I'm not going to work on her anymore until the retreat, oh my gosh, work on her anymore until we go to Expo, and I should be able to get quite a bit done there, and then I'll get her finished up hopefully by the end of the month, but no guarantee. So I'm taking that one, and then this one I'm continuing to work on. I'm trying to do 4 sections every week. I missed one right there already. Trying to do 4 sections every week, and I've done 2 sections this week already, and it's very, very early on Tuesday morning. So I'll get the other 2 sections done, and then the rest of the week I am thinking about, just when I have time to diamond paint, I'm thinking about going ahead and working on my cross stitch conversion and seeing how far that I can get on that one. But we'll see. We shall see. I am pretty much done with this section. There's a little bit here, but it's also very close to my release paper. So I'm going to call it good today. Thanks for listening, guys, to my ramblings today. I really do appreciate it, and I was all over the place. Sorry about that. Want to show you this section that we worked on together. Look how pretty the butterflies turned out. And the rest of this that I'm working on for the next 2 sections, that's going to be, if I go up this way, that is the end of the summer dragon here, and that's going to be her tail there. So once I get these 2 done, summer dragon will be completed. This section here, down this way, that's going to be the start down here. That's the start of the end. That doesn't make any sense. That is the end of the summer, all the summer sections here. And then when I go back down this way, this next section after that, that is the in-between section of the summer and the fall. So hopefully I will get this finished, these 2 finished this week. And then next week, by the time that I do my whip and chat, I should have probably 2 more sections done for you guys. And I might even have more done if I decide to stick with this one during the week. I would love to get this one finished, wrapped up sooner rather than later. But I just really enjoy how this one's coming out. Thanks so much for watching, and if you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. I think that you would like it here. Just simply click on the subscribe button. I also have a membership where you can join and you can participate in our Zoom calls if you would like. Also have additional content that I do every now and then for my members. And if you would click on that like button, I would really appreciate it. That tells YouTube that my videos are being watched and liked, and they will tend to send those out more frequently. Until next time, happy diamond painting. Bye.